How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Is it possible that the police in your state are not reporting crime data to the FBI? Let's get into this article real quick. Nearly 1/3 of law enforcement agencies are missing from the FBI's 2022 crime statistics. That's a lot. Use our tables to check on your state and local agencies. For the 2024 election season, we've updated this reporting to cover the latest changes and debates around crime stats. In 2022, 31% of the 18,000 law enforcement agencies across the U.S. failed to report crime data to the FBI's national database. After transitioning to a new data collection system, according to the latest statistics from the FBI, participation has improved since 2021, when almost 40% of the agencies were missing. The Marshall Project continues to follow the real-world consequences of the gaps. Oh my gosh, look at this. This is really cool. So they have like a little drop down. You can select which state and it will tell you which ones are just not reporting their shit. So let's go to New York. 24% of law enforcement agencies reported crime data to the FBI, and 16 reported a full year of crime data in 2022. That's very low. That's very, very low. Nevada, blue state. Is it a blue? Yeah, it's a blue state. 70% of law enforcement agencies reported crime data. Where's the other 30%? Maine. Okay, pretty good. Florida, horrible. Alaska, Alabama, so in Georgia, 66 reports. So where's the other 44%? Anyway, it's a pretty cool little thing they got right there. 421 out of 634 law enforcement agencies in Georgia successfully submitted data to the FBI through the National Incident-Based Reporting System in 2022. The agencies that reported any crime stats represent roughly 4 in 5 people in the state. 36 states and the District of Columbia had higher reporting rates than Georgia. That's ridiculous. And by the way, Georgia's no longer a red state. By the way, you know, they turned blue all of a sudden in 2020. In Georgia, the law enforcement agency with the largest jurisdiction that did not report 12 months of crime data to the FBI is the Atlanta Police Department, which reported 11 months of crime data in 2022. According to the FBI, 516,000 people live under its jurisdiction, which represents 5% of people living in the state. Many criminologists fear the missing data means reliable crime rates will be unavailable later this decade. When local police departments don't report data to the FBI, examining local crime trends or comparing rates in different communities becomes impossible. So I'm gonna just cut it right there because that's perfect to end it off. Because when you read this, all right, from the Marshall Project, and then you see dumb shit like this, Trump continues to sound alarm bells about crime, but violent crime is down under Biden. Just fucking lies. More and more lies every single day out of Democrats. And I'm not a Republican, Democrat. I don't subscribe to exactly one side of the I'm subscribing to common sense. There is no way crime is down, especially violent crime, with all these fucking illegals coming in here willy-nilly doing whatever they want. I cannot tell you how many people I've talked to, young or old, or that have been closely related to me or whatever, that under Biden's rule, they've gotten into a car crash and it's been a fucking illegal immigrant. What my stepsister, I think it was a stepsister. Yeah, my sister-in-law had a car accident and she had to chase down a fucking Hispanic who had bumped into her. And he decided to drive off. There's one girl I was talking to, who, you know, as friends, we were reconnecting. She had like half her car ran over by some gigantic ass, big ass, up high truck and turned her shit into a pancake. Who was in the seat, the driver's seat? a young Hispanic girl and her old Hispanic mom, and they were both acting like they didn't know how to speak a lick of fucking English. So, this shit is ridiculous. This shit is ridiculous because Democrats want to mess up these statistics, make tricky fake fucking statistics, and pass it off as real. Meanwhile, all for a narrative so they can get their little win in, so they can fool dumb niggas that don't think with their fucking brain, don't do any research, don't have common sense, they just want to have feelings. And yeah, I feel angry right now. Yeah, I'm gonna feel angry when my country's being fucked and dumb fucks want to have gaslighting and manipulation tactics going. It's fine. The country's fine. Expensive? Inflation? What inflation? We're down 2.9%. What inflation? Somebody should be locked up over this shit. This shit shouldn't be allowed. Democrats are hiding the rise in violent crime with tricky statistics. Quote, make no mistake, violent crime was up under Donald Trump. I said Donald Trump. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, I don't know how the hell you say that, warned in his first speech as Kamala Harris's running mate. If you look this up at home, Transportation Secretary, quote unquote, if you look this up at home, Transportation Secretary Pete, I'm not saying that, claimed last month, you will know that crime went down under Biden and crime went up under Trump. Why would America want to go back to higher crime we experienced under Trump? But the opposite is true between 2016 and 2020. Violent crime fell by 17% under Trump and soared by 43% under Biden between 2020 and 2022. Of course, news outlets routinely assert that Americans are missing and believing that violent crime is rising. Of course, news outlets routinely assert that Americans are mistaken. Of course, news outlets routinely assert that Americans are mistaken in believing that violent crime is rising. So shit is happening right in front of your eyes, and they're telling you to just eat the fucking catfish nuggets and vote blue, you dumb nigger. That's all they want you to do. That's not happening with me. On Monday, Axios had a typical headline. New data shows violent crime dropping sharply in major U.S. cities. I looked at that article. Dude was full of shit. He had an article, I think today, that he dropped that was trying to basically hate on Trump, of course. They all just hate Trump, no actual real fucking facts, all inflated fucking numbers, fake ass shit. And that makes you think about another thing. If they're inflating numbers like this, what makes you think they weren't inflating the crime statistics with black crime? Makes you think, right? But anyway, or from NPR earlier this year, violent crime is dropping fast in the US even if Americans don't believe it. Get the fuck out of here. But Democrats and the media don't understand the difference between the number of crimes reported to police and the total number of crimes. There's a difference there. There are two measures of crime. One, the FBI's NIBRS counts the number of crimes reported to the police yearly. The other, the Bureau of Justice Statistics National Crime Victimization Survey, asks about 240,000 people each year whether they have been victims of crime in an attempt to measure both reported and unreported crimes. So right here, FBI data on reported crimes per 100,000 people, Bureau of Justice Statistics crime victims per 15,000 people. Since 2020, these two measures have been highly negatively correlated. The FBI has been finding fewer instances of crime, but people are simultaneously answering in greater numbers that they have been victims. So basically, if you don't understand and I've been reading too fast for you here, or I've been reading too slow or whatever, I'm not perfect. The Bureau of Justice Statistics is actually giving us the real numbers. They survey the people. They ask the people about if they have had crimes done to them. Alright? And as you can see, 2022. Look at this shit. Anyway, we know that crime victims report only about 40% of violent crimes and 30% of property crimes to police. Prior to 2020, the FBI and NCVS numbers generally moved together. But every year from 2020 onward, these figures have moved to opposite directions. For instance, in 2022, the FBI reported a 2.1% drop in violent crime. But the NCVS showed an alarming increase of 42.4%. That's real different. The largest one-year percentage increase in violent crime ever reported by that measure. Part of the reason is that the law enforcement in the United States has collapsed. Take for example cities like New York with more than 1 million people. The FBI data shows arrest rates for reported violent crimes in such cities plunged by more than half, from 44% in the 5 years before the COVID pandemic to just 20% by 2022, the largest drop ever. So, and by the way, New York, hella immigrants. That's where most of the crime is coming from. Hella illegal immigrants. Shit, sometimes they're legal immigrants. All the gang busts they be doing in New York, they be racking up 100 people here, 200 people there, claiming some bullshit ass block. You go and look at the people that arrest you, look at their last names. You like, this is a Ghanaian, this is a Haitian, this is a Jamaican. These are fucking tethers. These are immigrants. This is a Jorge. These are immigrants. These aren't Americans that have been here for generation upon generation upon generation. They weren't here in the 1800s, 1700s, 1600s. They weren't here. So they don't give a fuck about this place like that. Anyway, but that's because criminals since 2020 face a declining risk of arrest when committing crime. In 2020, in cities with more than 1 million people, only 8% of all violent crimes reported and unreported, and 1% of all property crimes resulted in an arrest. And of course, not all of those arrests resulted in charges, let alone prosecutions or convictions, i.e. Hispanics. Hispanic illegal immigrants. Just saying. How many times have we heard a story of a Hispanic just breaking the law in the dumbest fucking way possible? They get deported, they come back, do some more dumb shit, get deported, come back. They just do that over and over again. They'll say this dude's been back 15 times. And all we do is arrest him, give him a court date, let them go back to wherever they came from, and they just come back. When of course they're gonna say they came from the Mexican border, because it's not just Hispanics getting through here. The whole world is coming through here. Any type of immigrants you can think of. So anyway, it has gotten to the point where people aren't even bothering reporting crime because they don't think anything is going to happen. Elon Musk correctly noted in his Monday night discussion with former President Trump. Police departments have lost many effective officers through retirements since the pandemic. Some police forces are demoralized because the criminals they arrest are immediately released. So you guys get the point. Democrats, I'm not saying Republicans don't lie, they lie all the time, all politicians lie, but this is our safety and shit we're talking about here. This is some big stuff. This is some big shit. All politicians suck. But this right here, lying about crime and inflation and all that, we'll get into the inflation later on in another video. But I had to cover this. I had to. Anyway, like, subscribe, share, whatever, all that.